And you?
Huge congratulations. How did you find out you'd been called up, and how does it feel?
It's an unbelievable feeling. I found out through text message, WhatsApp it was. I got a message from Emily from the FA and then from Gareth himself. And obviously for me, I was waiting and waiting. And Michael Keane and Pickers got the text message as well, and they came to me. But my phone was in my locker at the time, so I went and checked my phone, and obviously I had the text message, and just very, very happy.
I mean, look, we've been talking about it in the media for a good few weeks now, the possibility, the potential of you being called up. Did you dare to dream? Did you dare to think this might be the right time for you?
I think you have to, but obviously not looking too far ahead. For myself, I was obviously concentrating on playing for Everton and scoring goals and playing well, and winning games. And as it's gone, and then obviously as the time nears, you hope that you might be in the manager's thoughts to be called up for your country. And obviously it's a dream to, as many people say, it's a kid's dream to play for the country. And obviously I'm very privileged to be here now.
It's been an incredible start to the season for you and for Everton. Top of the league, 4 wins out of 4, 9 goals for you personally in 5.5 games. Now you get your first England call-up as well. I mean, that old adage of needing to pinch yourself, is there a bit of that going on?
I suppose so. It's been a great start for club and obviously me personally, but I think I had a good feeling about the start of the season. I knew that the time for me was going to be good, and I felt ready to start the season. I had a little bit of a blip post-lockdown, but I knew that with obviously the players that we brought in and the quality that we had in training, that it was going to be a good start to the season. And obviously it's nice for that to come off, but I don't think you can ever plan for how you're going to feel or how it's going to be, obviously, when you first get called up for your country. And for me, I've thought about that for a long time, and I've worked extremely hard, obviously to get here, and for it to finally, be here and me sat here talking to you now, it's something that I have thought long and hard about and dreamed of for a long time.
I've got to ask you about Everton and where they are in the table and the start that you've made. Are you realistic Champions League contenders now, or even more than that, challengers for the title?
Listen, it was a disappointing season last season, but the way we've started this season is exactly how we would have wanted to start. And I keep saying the same thing. It's important not to get carried away. We're still learning each other's game, and I think it's a case of just take that same old one, taking every game as it comes. And obviously as a club, the ambition is always to finish in Europe and finish as high up as possible. So for me, since I joined Everton, that ambition has not changed, whereas now it feels like there's been a little bit of a momentum shift and a change in, mentality, and we really believe that we can, kick on now this season.
You'll have seen that Tammy Abraham and Ben Chilwell and Jadon Sancho have been kept away from the squad after they breached the coronavirus rules. Look, as a player yourself, do you have any sympathy with them and other players that have fallen foul of the rules like this?
It's a difficult time, and them boys, they've apologised, and that's first and foremost what they needed to do. But we all obviously understand what it means to play for the country, and that you have to remember that at all times. And it's a tough situation, but like I say, they've apologised, so you have to move on.
What's Gareth Southgate said to you and the rest of the squad about this and about the coronavirus laws and the responsibility you guys have?
We had a welcome meeting yesterday, and he just kind of reminded us what it means and the expectations of playing for England, and you have to be extra careful and follow the rules. And like I say, it's a unique time at this moment in time, and we always have to be extra attentive to those rules, and that's obviously the way it is when you're representing your country.
Thanks, Dominic. Look, whenever a new striker comes into the England camp, they have to line up somewhat behind the captain and the talisman of the squad, Harry Kane. I mean, you've trained with him today. What can you learn from him?
I'm always learning, and he's been scoring goals for a long period of time, and he kind of broke in to the Premier League and hit the ground running around a similar age to what I am now. So for me, he's got a lot of things to his game that I can learn from and add to my game, and he is where he is for a reason. He works extremely hard, and he's got great ability, and he scores goals. So for me, as a player coming into the team, it's nice to get up close and personal, and see how he operates on a daily basis.
Last one from me for now. If the Euros had happened this summer, you wouldn't have been there. but there's been a year's delay to the Euros. It's going to be summer 2021. Does that give you a hope and a belief that you can be there with England?
Absolutely, it's a season to progress and kick on and score more goals and keep performing consistently. And so far at the start of the season, my performances have got me here now. So, like I say, consistency is key, and there's no reason why if I stay consistent, I believe that I'd like to think that I'd be in with a chance, and playing in the Euros, which is obviously something and a place where I would want to be.
Top man, thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Next, we'll go to Jack Pitbrook from The Athletic.
Hi, Dominic. What have your Everton teammates told you about the pressures of playing for England compared to club football?
I actually didn't speak to them too much about it. It was more just excitement and congratulations, really, when obviously I first found out. But I know from previously that it's you've got the nation, you're carrying the nation and the country on your shoulders, so it comes with great pressure and great responsibility. But I think that I'm here now, and I believe that I'm capable of holding that and playing well.
Are you expecting any change of level in terms of what happens on the pitch between this and Premier League football?
I've not played my first game yet, but I'm just looking forward to it and excited just to get on the pitch and put the England shirt back on. The last time I put it on was for the 21s, over a year ago. So I'm just excited to get going, and I'm sure that for me the Premier League is the best league in the world. So I'm playing there consistently well at the moment. So I've got no fears in going and playing for England.
Thanks, Jack. Next, we'll go to Nizar Kinsella from Goal.com.
Hi, Dominic. Congratulations. I wanted to ask you about Carlo Ancelotti's influence. He kind of compared you to an Italian legendary striker, Pippo Inzaghi. Is your identity as a striker changed a little bit because he was one who was a poacher, didn't take a lot of touches, was offside a lot? How's your identity changed as a striker, and has Carlo had an influence on you?
Carlo's definitely had a positive influence on me. I think for me, the age I'm getting to now, I'm evolving as a centre forward, and I'm learning my craft, and I'm fine tuning certain aspects of my game. I think beforehand I was guilty of doing a lot of my best work away from the goal, and now I'm focusing on getting in between the sticks and putting the ball in the back of the net. And I think that analogy from Carlo was more just an emphasis on being in the right place at the right time. Not to say that I'm a carbon copy of Pippo Inzaghi, but there's elements of his game that I've been showing in my game at the moment, and it's them one-touch finishes and being in the right areas to put the ball in the back of the net.
And just to follow that up quickly, have you watched any YouTube videos of Inzaghi since those comments were made?
Funnily enough, he mentioned it to me before he came out, obviously, and said it in the press, and I had a little YouTube of his goals and watched like a 15-minute reel of him, and obviously a lot of his goals are one-touch finish, and he's got great movement, so you can always learn. Even I'm still learning now. I'm learning my craft, so I always try and take it in.
Thanks, Nizar. Carrie Brown from beIN Sport.
Hello, Dominic. Congratulations on the start to your season. You were interviewed by the fans just at the end of last year and asked which striker you look at in YouTube clips, and you actually said Didier Drogba. You're now with a manager who he won the Premier League with, who he begged to return back to Chelsea for, and you've talked about that focal point and how much Ancelotti has brought that in. But what's it like to hear him referring to you as Inzaghi and Didier Drogba? And did you speak to him immediately about his relationship with Didier?
I haven't spoken to him about Didier Drogba, no, but I think to have a manager that's worked with top players and top strikers and players that play my position, it's always nice to know that, when he's giving me information, he's coached these players before, so it's important that I take it on board. But I think for me, he's enabled me to fine tune my game and told me to focus on different things and being the focal point, and told me that obviously that I've got the abilities and the tools to do it. So, and be the main man and lead the line.
You've certainly been doing that. 2 hat-tricks already to your name. Cast your mind back to a time in your England shirt. Can you tell us what it's like to score a goal in a World Cup final, and how keen are you to repeat it?
It was at that moment in time, the biggest moment of my career, and it was a surreal moment. I remember being well onside, but looking across to the linesman just to make sure that I'd actually scored. And being over there, obviously in South Korea, it was a different experience and a different culture. But obviously for me now, I'm 3 years from there, and I'm looking to kick on, and obviously that'd be a dream come true to go on and be able to do that again.
Thanks, Kerry. Faker Rivers from TalkSport.
Hi, Dominic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We all saw the video of you arriving at camp and taking your hat off before greeting Gareth Southgate. That kind of respect for your manager is really important to the England fans, particularly at the moment. How important is it to you?
Yeah, he's the manager of the country. So for me, that was the first time I'd seen him since arriving. So I think just out of common courtesy, I took my hat off to we can't shake hands at the moment, but to give him a fist bump, and that was the first conversation I had with him. So it was good to see him. I'd seen him obviously when I'd been around the place with the 21s, and we just had a little catch up about football and how well things have been going and what obviously the next couple of weeks hold.
When you've seen what's gone on with some of your other teammates, does it make you even more determined to make your manager proud and the fans as well?
Yeah, I'm a proud English man, and I'm proud every time I pull on the England shirt. And growing up, I've always watched England and envisioned myself, one day playing for England. So to be here now, it's a very, very proud moment. And the manager Gareth has given me the opportunity to come and do that now. So obviously, I want to repay that and play well.
Thanks, Faye. Next, we'll go to Simon Evans from Reuters. Simon, are you there? Simon, you're on mute. You need to unmute yourself.
Hi, sorry, yeah. When you came in, Carlo got a lot of questions about signing a striker and signing this kind of player and signing that kind of player. And he said quite a few times, we've got a centre forward. How much, aside from all those nice comparisons he's making to Inzaghi and so on, but how nervous were you when he came in that maybe he would do that? And then how much of a boost was it to hear him talk about you as a solution he'd already got?
Well, for me, what was obviously being speculated was no different from the moment I kind of joined Everton. Everton is a big club, and they're always linked with good players and centre forwards. And I'm very grateful that I was able to learn and keep playing at Everton and at the highest level in the Premier League. And that's led me to where I am now. So in them perhaps not bringing in a centre forward, it gave me the opportunity to learn and play. So I was in a good vein of form when Carlo came in. So I wasn't really too worried. And obviously, I like to always focus on my football, and obviously everything external, that goes on. It's important not to get too engrossed in that. So, but at the same time, obviously when he came in and said that, he was having me as a number 9, and he wasn't interested in bringing in anyone else. It was just another confidence boost at that moment in time to help me keep playing well.
Thanks, Simon. Next, we'll go to Anish Dogra, who's joining us from the Black Collective of Media in Sport. Anish.
Hi, Dominic. Congratulations on your call-up. Last week, Gareth said that he and his team have been looking at you for a while, and is someone who can offer the team a lot. How special does it feel to have the manager say those words about you? And were you aware of his interest prior to the call-up?
No, it was nice, obviously, to know that I was on his radar. I've been playing in the Prem for 3 or 4 years now, and slowly, progressing and learning and maturing. I'm 23 now, but obviously it was nice to know that I was on his radar and that he'd been looking at me. But for me, I always knew, obviously, to warrant a call for my country, it was important that I was doing my job and that scoring goals. So I knew that if I could add that to my game, which you could say, is the icing on the cake, and hopefully long may it continue, that I could be in with a chance of being called up.
Dominic.
Thanks, Anish. We'll go next to Stephen Douglas from AP.
Hi, Dominic.
Hi,
just looking for a player's viewpoint on the sheer amount of goals being scored this season in the Premier League. Is it a case of sort of players feeling under less pressure because of the lack of no crowd being there, or is there another reason why you think there's so many goals?
I'll be completely honest, I'm not too sure. Obviously, it's been some freak results in the past couple of weeks, and there's been a lot of goals scored and some records broken, but I can't put my finger on it. For me personally, obviously playing for Everton at the moment, we're playing well and we're in a good vein of form. So there's no coincidence that we're scoring a fair amount of goals at the moment. But I can't really speak for any other clubs. I can't put my finger on it, to be honest.
And can I just ask a question about you and Tom Davis going to New York for the fashion week? How big is fashion in your life? Is that like a big thing for you?
It's just something I enjoy. I sometimes think, you know, in this day and age, people can misconstrue that for it being a distraction for what I'm really trying to achieve, and that's, you know, playing at the highest level of what I'm doing, and that's play football. But it is another passion of mine and something that I enjoy, and just something outside of football is, like I say, a hobby that I take interest in.
Thanks, Steve. And we'll finish the live section of this media conference with a question from Rob Dorsey at Sky again.
Thanks, Andy. Dominic, I just wanted to ask you about the pathway, really. You've played 31 times for the under-20s and the under-21s, so you know St George's Park very well, you know the setup, and the FA and Gareth have clearly created this pathway to the top. Did you feel kind of that you'd paid your dues almost, and that you'd learned your trade, and this was the next progression? And I wonder whether a lot of the players in the younger age groups get that feeling.
I think I was very fortunate, obviously, to play in the under-20s and under-21s, and kind of have the international experience and play in tournaments and play for England. And I think, you know, it's been a year or so, maybe over, since I've last played for England. So there's been a period of time where I've been out of the setup, and I think obviously I wasn't playing to the level of what was required to warrant being called up for my country. But I think there's a clear pathway for young players and players coming through in the England setup to, you know, he does look towards the under-21s, and there is that opportunity there. So for me personally, I knew what was required and what I needed to do, you know, to probably make that next step, and that was to ultimately score goals and play with consistency. And I had the belief that when I added that to my game, that obviously I would be in with a chance of getting the nod. So I'm grateful for that, and for other young players as well. You know, sometimes it's you get the freaks of nature that come on the scene, and they've got all the ability, and they get straight in there, and obviously deservedly so. But I recognise that for myself, you know, at 21, 20, it might have not been that I was perhaps ready then, but I never stopped believing that, you know, I would get there eventually with the right work ethic and the right training and being focused all the time. That, like I say, I'm grateful to be sat here now.
Thanks, Rob. Apologies, we do have further questions in the live section. The next one coming from Fred Caldeira from Esporte Brazil.
Thank you, Andy. Hi, Dominic. Just coming back to your very, very good performance and form for Everton. I'm a Brazilian reporter, and obviously your partnership with Richarlison is something very nice to see since at least last season, and he seems to be a very lovable figure in the rest room, not just in Everton but in the national team as well. Just wonder which words you can say about him and about your partnership together.
I get along very well with Richie, and he's a top player, and I think, you know, with a couple of the new signings come in, he's really come out of his shell, and he's a really good player and a good guy. And obviously, I don't want to speak too much on my club stuff. Obviously, I'm here to represent my country, but all I can say for Richie, he's a good guy and a top player.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fred. One more from Kitty Hatchley from ITV News.
Hi there. You spoke at the beginning about when you came into the squad, Gareth giving you all a talk about what to expect of you as players, like in the current climate. And I was just wondering, is there a feeling of a lack of discipline? Is that become one of the reasons why you had that talk?
No, I don't feel like there is. You know, there's been a few lapses in concentration, and that's all I would put it down to. You know, we're human beings at the end of the day. We're still learning and still growing, and everybody's likely to make mistakes at certain times, but it's important that you learn from it, and, you know, you apologise and recognise where you've gone wrong and keep it moving, which obviously the lads have done, but there's not that feeling, no.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kitty. Final question, live section, Anish, once again from Black Collective of Media in Sport.
Dominic, England have been blessed with some brilliant strikers in the past, you know, Wayne Rooney, Michael Owen, Alan Shearer. In the past, and going forward, are there any particular strikers that you aspire to and perhaps could replicate your game on?
I think at this current moment in time, I don't particularly watch a specific centre forward, although I just take note of, you know, all the top centre forwards in the world, and there's always something that you can pick from them, and watching their goals and the movement and things like that. I feel like you can always learn, and you just have to take it in. So I don't watch any specifically, but obviously I'm a student of the game and a fan of football, so I enjoy watching other centre forwards.
Thanks, Anish. Okay, that concludes the live section of this conference.